So what do I do if my dog is running away from me? Okay, now this can develop for various different reasons. Sometimes it'll happen for a legitimate stressor, like there's a car backfire or something really stressful happens, the dog will run and it just develops this desire in them to run, or a flight mechanism. It activates a flight mechanism in them where they want to run away when something specific happens. It could also just be an avoidance thing where they don't want to get corrected, and so they'll run away. And for some dogs, especially if you have an older dog that's not been trained, it may just be that they went out of the house, you open the door, and they take off running, okay? This happens sometimes with dogs that are trained, and it just is developed because the handler doesn't know how to handle the situation the first time it happens, or how to follow up properly on it, and so it just kind of develops into an issue. Sometimes it's something that has been allowed to go on for a while, but in any case, we need to get it under control, and so here's how we do it. Number one, if you're in your house and it's a flight thing where you open the door and your dog takes off out of your house, I recommend you get a 30-foot lead, okay? So this is, you can either get a 30-foot tracking lead from us, or you could just get like 30 feet of rope and do a good knot on a clip for your dog, but you want to make sure you have a good grip on it. Now, if you have a big dog and you're a small person, you need to get somebody to help you, or you need to anchor this to something that's really strong, that's not going to break when your dog lunges into the end of it, okay? So here's what's going to happen. You're going to clip this into your dog's prong collar, and you're going to set the scenario up, and basically, I'm sorry to say it, but we're going to set our dogs up for failure, but they're going to correct themselves. So here's what we do. We clip that in, we either hold on to it, or we have it anchored to something very, very strong, depending on the weight and size and strength of the dog. We open the door up, and we let them take off. But we want them to get used to listening to our verbal commands. So we should be telling them, "Phooey that." Anytime they run out of the house, we say, "Phooey that," or whatever your correction term is, we use the term phooey, which means shame on you. And so if I open my door and my dog wants to go out the door, I tell him, "Phooey that, get back to your place." Right? Well, it's the same if I open the door and the dog takes off running. So I'm going to say, "Phooey it," and that's all I'm going to say. And I'm going to let them run right to the end of the lead. Now if I'm holding it, I'm going to brace myself right as they get to the end of it. If it's on something strong, I'm just going to let them run right into the end of the lead. As soon as they hit the end of that lead, they're going to correct themselves, and it's going to be a pretty good correction because however fast they run is how hard their correction is. But it only takes a couple times, and they don't want to do this anymore. So you either brace yourself or you have it anchored. They're going to run into the end of the lead, and they're going to be done. Now, as soon as that happens, here's what you need to do. Let's go, let's go, let's go, good go, good go, good go. Oh, what happened? I don't know what happened. Pretend like you had nothing to do with it. If you're holding the lead, as soon as they start to come back to you, just drop it. Now, I like to step on it just in case they turn and want to run again, but I don't want to look at me and be like, "What'd you do to me?" I want them to not know where it came from. All they know is when I run out of the house, now I get corrected. Okay, so I drop the lead, I step on it, I call them in, "Good go," and I praise them up. I bring them in the house, and I set it up again. They do this 2 to 3 times, and you'll see them, they'll start to run out, and then they'll be like, "Nah, I don't want to do that anymore." It happens real fast when you're having issues like that in your house. Now, what if you're outside and you're trying to leave your dog in a downstay and they're taking off? Okay, so this happens for 2 reasons. One is avoidance. They think they're going to get corrected from you, and so they're trying to avoid that correction. And the other one is, for some reason, something has created a flight mechanism in them, and we need to fix that problem. Okay? So what we do in these situations is, Number one, I want to kind of recreate what we did in the house. So if I have a 30-foot lead, I want to set that on something really strong. Okay, again, a hitch of a vehicle or something like that is a great one. But you know, if you have a good like a 4x4 post in the ground or something like that near that, even if it's a little ways off, I can connect it as long as my 30-foot lead will reach. And I set the scenario up, but now my dog is tethered to something. So they're not going to go far, number one, and number two, it's easy for me to come and correct for the fact that they did that, okay? So here's the deal. If my dog is going into this because of avoidance, and avoidance is, I don't want you to correct me, or I don't want this stress. Usually it's something you're requiring them to do, like walk across a beam on an obstacle or something like that. And if you, when you get there, you'll probably experience that with your dogs. They'll want to just jump off the beam, or if you're walking them up a ramp, they might take 1 or 2 steps up the ramp and then just step off the side. They're just saying, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with it. Sometimes even higher platforms, they'll just jump off them. They just want to get off on the ground. They don't want to deal with the stress. If that happens, they get corrected, phooey it, and they get put back in their position. So if it's a running away issue because they see you turn and look at them and they think, uh-oh, he turned and looked at me, I'm going to get corrected. And it's not uncommon for a dog to do that in the early stages of training where every time you walk up to them, they're getting corrected for something. And that's where we use some of the other techniques and some of our other questions to keep that from happening. Okay? But again, make sure you watch modules 1, 2, and 3. I go over this a little bit there, and I also have the question about what do I do if my dog is lunging out at me. That addresses this as well. Okay? But if I'm outside or something like that, my dog wants to go into a flight mechanism to avoid correction, I'm going to make sure they're tethered to something. I'm going to walk up, I'm going to give them a little pop, I'm going to put them back. I don't make a big deal out of it. Here's the deal. Don't make a big deal out of something that's not a big deal. If you make it a big deal, it will be a bigger deal. If you keep it a small deal, it will be handled very quickly and it won't become a big issue. Okay, so the important thing is they're tethered, they can't run away more than that 30-foot lead. It's easy for me to walk up. If they're trying to move around, I'll just step on the lead as I'm walking up it so that I control how far they can get away from me, and then I reach down and get my lead. I tell them, knock it off, quit being dramatic. I just, like, it's a real kind of just hey, stop being, childish about this. I give them a little pop, not a hard one, a little one. I walk them back to their place, I plutz them, and I do lots of praise. Not necessarily petting, but, oh, good plutz, good blight. And then I want to make sure I'm praising a lot. So if it's I look at my dog and they see me looking at them and they're like, oh, I'm in trouble, and they want to run, then I want to do this a lot. I want to look over and immediately I want to say, good plutz, good blight, good plutz, good blight. As I approach them, if they're doing what they're supposed to do, I say, good plutz. Can you silence that? I say, good plutz, good blight, as I approach so they know I'm not coming up to correct you. They only get corrected when they're doing something they're not supposed to do, and then they know not to do it anymore. Now here's the other one. What if it's a genuine stressor? What if the wind is blowing something by? What if it may be another dog? It could be an aggressive person and you don't have a protection dog. There's various different things that can create a stressor that puts the dog into flight and they run away. But the bottom line is I told that dog to stay in their place, right? So they're supposed to stay in their place. Now, if it's life and death, I'm not dealing with life and death situations where they legitimately need to run to save their lives. But it's something that they're interpreting that way, but it's not really that way. Okay, it's something that they're being way over dramatic about. Now remember, your dogs don't have the same point of reference that we have. They don't know that a trash can, one of those trash cans that we roll out to the road, they don't know that that's not dangerous. If it's the first time they've ever seen it, they're trying to figure out this might be dangerous. Okay? So we look at that and we go, why are they afraid of a trash can? But from their perspective, if they have no idea what it is, it may not be as big of an overreaction as we think it is. Okay? So let's keep those things in mind. But at the end of the day, if I tell my dog to lay down and I wheel that trash can by them, they need to stay there. Hey, I don't care if it makes noise. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if the wind blows a lawn chair by. I don't care if a car drives by. I don't care what the thing is. These things are not dangerous to you. I told you to stay in your place. You're going to stay there. So we're going to handle it the same way, or very similar to what we just addressed. We're going to tether them to something that's strong enough to handle the dog, with a lead that's strong enough to handle the dog. We can use a chain if we want to, but usually a rope or a lead will work. The only time I use a chain is if they tend to chew the rope or the lead. I don't want them chewing my expensive equipment up. And then what I do though in this situation is I'm a little more firm with my correction, and here's why. Being firm in your correction in this situation actually has this effect. That is scary, whatever that is, whatever that stressor is, but my person is more scary when I disobey than that is. And so I'm going to take comfort in knowing that my person requires me to stay here and this will go away. That's what we're trying to communicate to the dog. I'm more scary than whatever that is. And if you don't create that, you actually will have a really hard time getting your dog over this. But they will actually take comfort in the fact that I'm going to be hard enough on them to require them to do what they have to do, regardless of these things that they're very scared about or they're having a big reaction to, that I know as the owner, and I'm taking good care of my dog, that is not really a threat. It's not really going to hurt you. There's no reason to go into flight. So here's the key. Tether your dog to something so that you have the opportunity to correct. And do it until this is no longer a problem. Okay? My recommendation is leave your tether there, especially if it happens at the same place all the time. Leave your tether there and just clip your dog into it when you get there. Put them in a Plutz or a sit or whatever you want them to be in and tell them to blight. Do whatever you're going to do. If they decide to go into flight, you correct and you put them back. But now they can't go very far. Okay? And you need to be more scary than whatever it is that's causing the scariness to the dog. We're not doing this to be mean. We're doing it because their concern for my correction is actually going to bring them comfort when these items occur. Trust me, I know it seems a little harsh at the beginning, but your dog and you will be thankful for it in the long run, and it will be a huge, huge blessing to both of you. Trust me, if you use this technique and you have some other issues that occur, or it's not working for you, send me an email and we'll get a video out just for you.